Hello. Come on, let's go. Let's get her going.
The girls were missing.
I heard somebody walking. 3 girls were killed at your camp.
There's not one counselor who wouldn't have given their life if we knew what was going on.
Alright, when does the debate start? I thought it started at 6.
Shifter, he had the help of Cherokee Magic.
There were 3 caves discovered.
That's been a
90-minute.
hideout for 100 years.
I began to see
Doesn't
that
Sean
multiple
Hannity
people
start
had
right
been
now?
involved in the murders.
I said, I think you've got a 4th man.
They've never gone on the record in 45 years. The implications of this are huge.
And I don't think you're going to want to miss it. Here now with a preview of the big event, Chairman of the Harris Poll, Mark Penn, and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee is with us. All right, Mark Penn, let's just examine from a political point of view. You're a pollster. You worked with the Clintons for years.
Failed because of his leftist ideology. And
Yeah,
the choice for
on right
America
now.
is
What
this.
the frick?
What Biden and Harris and Newsom want to do is take the California
Are
model
you kidding me?
and do that nationally. In Florida, we showed that conservative principles work. This country must choose freedom over failure.
Governor
Wow.
Newsom, your reaction.
Well, it's good to be with you, Sean. It's nice also to see you in a tie as well tonight. Good to be with you, Ron. And I imagine
dressed up for the occasion, Governor.
Is there really no...
I'm impressed and I'm grateful. Look, it's an important occasion. This is an important conversation. And I think it's important to folks watching.
really
They're probably wondering, what are we actually doing here? And I want to answer that very directly. I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here to tell the truth about the Biden-Harris record and also compare and contrast Ron DeSantis' record and the Republican Party's record as a point of contrast that's as different as daylight and darkness. You want to bring us back to a pre-1960s world, America in reverse. You want to roll back hard-earned national rights on voting rights, on civil rights, on LGBTQ rights, on women's rights, not just access to abortion, but also access to contraception.
We're doing it cheaply.
You want to weaponize grievance. You are focusing on false separateness.
Not there.
You in particular, Ron, are on a banning binge, a cultural purge, intimidating and humiliating people you disagree with.
Absolutely
you
true.
And President Trump are really trying to light democracy on fire. So, Sean, there are profound differences tonight, and I look forward to engaging. But there's one thing in closing that we have in common is neither of us will be the nominee for our party in 2024.
Because Newsom's not even running. What a bird!
It didn't address the issue. Can you explain this migration?
Yeah, Newsom didn't answer a single question.
Going to red state,
you mean,
blue state.
You mean the last 2 years, more Floridians going to California than Californians going to Florida?
No, I put up on this.
By the way, that's going to be fun to fact check. So we'll just start right there. California has no peers. California dominates. Sizable 21 state populations combined. It's the 5th largest economy in the world. We dominate. Number 1 manufacturing state. We dominate in two-way trade and research and development, access to innovation, more scientists, more researchers, more engineers, more Nobel laureates in the state of California than any other state in the nation. The finest system of higher education. It's the birthplace of life science and biotech and nanotechnology. We dominate in green tech. We dominate in high tech. We dominate in artificial intelligence. So with respect, I think it's an interesting campaign strategy for Ron DeSantis to be bashing a state of 40 million Americans when California simply has no peers.
Well, that's a pretty slick way of not answering your question. He went on a binge of putting out a lot of left-wing platitudes. Here's what I would say.
Platitudes? What are you talking about, dude?
Florida, and we never used to get people from California to Florida or really anywhere in these, because why would you leave California? It's got the best weather, great natural forces. Excuse me, sir. But one of the things that I did, I was talking to a gentleman, a couple.
I'm going to let the debate breathe, but it's his turn.
All right.
Let's take turns.
Okay.
So I was talking to a fella who had made the move from California to Florida, and he was telling me that Florida is much better governed, safer, better budget, lower taxes, all this stuff. And he's really happy with the quality of life. And then he paused and he said, by the way, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law. So we do count Gavin's in-laws as some of the people that have fled California and come to the state of Florida. And why are we getting people to come? We have a 50-year low in the crime rate. You don't see in the last 10 years we've had a 45% decline in
the
homelessness.
problem that people are dealing with mostly is
45%
crime, not cost of living.
The blue.
None of that shit.
I was walking the streets of
not
San
low
Francisco
wages.
a couple months ago, and I had some of the cops in San Francisco do a beeline to come over to me, and I didn't know what they were going to say.
Even if crime was really bad in your area, you know how fucking expensive it is to just up and move. Like, especially like 3,000 miles away, it's a bullshit talking point.
For standing for law enforcement, because we don't get that support in the state of California. So people understand quality of life matters. They understand that Florida's doing it right. And I can tell you the numbers speak for themselves. We have way more people moving to this state than leaving. Gavin?
I hate the mixed up data here because DeSantis is like, oh, more people left California than came to California. Newsom's like, more Floridians came to California.
Kevin, shut up.
Both of those can actually be true at the same time.
A lot of things that were factually untrue, including that 50-year crime low, which his own law enforcement team said you should not be using.
You have yet to address the issue, but I asked you twice. You don't want to answer it. But the issue of why the migration out of red states, out of blue states.
We just established more Floridians coming to California in the last 2 years than the
overall. You had a net loss of 7.
It's a fact.
It is. Moving on.
Gavin Newsom's very proud of this.
It's actually true. Again, they're debating about two totally different items. DeSantis wasn't prepped enough to say that's not a fact.
Highest rate for top earners, 13%. Married couple, for example, in California, earning a median income of $84,000. They have a 6% income tax in the state.
I didn't
want to
wait until Friday
Florida's
for
income
the
tax
whole
rate
debate
is
to be available, so we're doing it
0%
live.
across all salaries.
Fuck it.
But
We're
it
doing
goes
it live.
beyond income taxes. Property taxes are lower in California, but everything else is higher. Let's take a look at the numbers. These are the facts. The average property tax in California, 0.75%, Florida, 0.91%. Sales tax, California, 7.25%, Florida, 6%. Gas tax rate, California, 77 cents a gallon. That is a low estimate. It's up to $1 when you include mandatory fees, and in Florida it's 35 cents. Corporate income tax, California 8.84%, Florida 5.5%. Governor Newsom, this is your question. Let me ask you. Obviously, you support a different philosophy, which is higher taxes.
Yes. No. Hold on.
We have a tax question, Governor.
This is a very different approach, and I agree with you completely. He has one of the most regressive tax rates in the United States of America. It's the number 3 most regressive state in America. And what that means is simply this. Who does he tax? He taxes low-income workers more than we tax millionaires and billionaires in the state of California. The question is a simple one. Who, Ron, are you for? It's a factual lie that the state of California has has the highest tax rate. But for whom? And it's a foundational and fundamental difference. You look at states like Texas, overwhelming majority of Texans pay more taxes than the state of California. So again, it's who you're for. And I think those values matter. And I appreciate you bringing up the issue of taxes.
How many people leave Florida to go to California because they pay less taxes? I've not seen that. Are people going from Florida to New York because they pay less taxes? Of course not. They come to Florida because they pay lower taxes. We don't even have an income tax. And yet California has a higher sales tax than we do. And that's one of the things that we do. But here's the thing. And I'll give Gavin credit. Floundering. He did at least admit in his first answer. He's joined at the hip with Biden and Harris. He thinks Biden and Harris have done a great job. He thinks the economy is working because of their policies for Americans, and they are not. And so what California represents
smart hit DeSantis
is the Biden-Harris agenda on steroids. They would love nothing more than to get 4 more years to be able to take the California model nationally. That would be disastrous for working people.
Yeah, because it's disastrous for California right now.
In your state than the state of California charges for billionaires and millionaires. And it's just a value proposition.
True.
It's a fact.
You raise taxes, you live in social safety net.
$7 a gallon gas. How do they afford that? These are folks that are blue-collar people. You're going to force everybody to buy an electric vehicle. How are they going to be able to afford electric vehicles if you're working class people? And I think the thing about California, they have one of the highest inequality rates because they've got Silicon Valley billionaires, they've got a lot of very wealthy people, they've got a lot of people that are on government assistance, but they've hollowed out their middle class. That's who's been leaving California. They've been leaving in other places. They go to Arizona, they go to Nevada.
Yes,
all these places.
Higher poverty rate.
I do have a follow-up
question
in California.
Ron, I'm happy that you continue to talk. Let's talk a little bit about Bidenomics, because I'm happy to take that on right now as well. And I think it's
You're
a fair
a big
point.
supporter of it. I appreciate you acknowledging
14 million jobs, 10 times more than the last 3 Republican presidents combined.
Because
the
jobs were because of the COVID lockdowns. Are you kidding me?
3.9% unemployment. As he continues to talk over me, I'll talk to the American people. 3.9% unemployment, the lowest black unemployment in American history, the lowest unemployment for Hispanics in American history, the lowest unemployment for women in 70 years, the lowest black poverty rates.
It doesn't matter much when the cost of living is so high, though, Gavin.
And by the way, as you smile and smirk over there, you should know this, the American people. Here's a guy who celebrated Bidenomics just this week, celebrating $28 million that came
God,
into
Ron
state
looks so
because
fucking
of the Chips and
awkward,
Science
dude.
Act, one of the most significant economic plans since FDR. I'm proud of the work Biden and Harris have done.
Would you like to respond? And I do have a follow-up. The 6% rate on people, families, couple in California, they pay 6% income tax on $84,000 a year.
Low-wage workers in the state of Florida pay more than billionaires in the state of California.
I didn't ask about Florida.
Governor, 30. But here's, let me answer the question.
Oh my God, it's off the rails.
Ron, if I may answer the question.
Okay.
Come on.
California has lower taxes, lower than 32 states for working families in the middle class, significantly lower taxes than places like Texas.
You support a 6% income tax for people, a couple
I'm
making
against
$84,000.
progressive taxes that advantage billionaires and millionaires over working families and the working poor. People in his state pay more taxes on the low end than we tax people on the high end. That's
paying
a fact.
$7 a gallon gas help working people?
Oh my God, we're not talking about gas.
People at all. How does paying an 8% sales tax help working people? That doesn't help working people at all. They have the highest taxes in the nation. People flee to be able to save money to get out of California. And you have working class people that move to these other states. Their dollars go much further. But here's the thing. They want to take this Bidenomics and they want to double down on this for the next 4 years. How many people are able to afford groceries now compared to what you were doing 3 or 4 years ago? I talked to people, I talked to a woman who had a cart full of groceries going in, and they're ringing it up. And it got to be so expensive, she has to take a lot of the stuff out. That didn't used to be the case. People used to be able to work hard and get ahead. That is not true under Joe Biden. And you know what, Sean, one more final thing. California's unemployment rate is 60% higher than Florida's unemployment rate. Our unemployment rate is 2.8%.
That dovetails into my next question,
Why?
Governor.
Because it's a command and control economy. They have a political agenda that they're pursuing.
Let me ask that question.
People.
On with the question of jobs. I think it's important. You know what? That
is true.
That's not true. There's no, what political agenda, Kevin?
Last 3 years, it's been a massive
Joe Biden paying you tonight?
3.9%.
Yeah.
I thought this was state versus state.
Get off Biden, man.
United States of America. I thought this guy was running for president of the United States. If
You are
running
too.
for
You just won't admit it.
You're running for a third term.
You just won't admit it. You will not admit it.
Why don't
you just admit that you're running?
Hold on.
All right, we can't talk.
There's no campaign.
I'm going to move on to
There's
the next
no-
question. The unemployment
There's no
rate
FEC
in Florida
filing.
right now
He's not
is
running.
just 2.8%, as you stated. And California ranks second worst in the country at 4.8%. Hold on. This question goes to Governor DeSantis, and then you'll have a chance to respond. Governor DeSantis.
Well, right. I mean, they tax too much. They regulate too much. They have a political agenda. It's not a good climate for business. They've lost a lot of companies.
What political
a lot of companies
agenda,
have moved
bro?
to Texas. We have had some to Florida, but they've lost a lot of companies to Texas because they're not doing a good job looking out for folks and not creating a good business environment. And, when I have people that come to Florida, they tell me, you guys actually want us to succeed in Florida. And they feel like when they're in California, they don't want business to succeed.
Is that what
and all that
Disney's saying, the Tampa Bay Rays?
Well, actually, yeah. I think that's an interesting point with Disney because I had Disney open during COVID.
Maybe Brian Tyler Killam won't be so
folks and not creating a good business environment.
Insufferable.
And, when I have people that come to Florida, they tell me, you guys actually want us to succeed in Florida. And they feel like when they're in California, they don't want business to succeed. Come to Florida, they tell me, you guys actually want us to succeed in Florida.
Why
and they
does
feel like
Kevin's
when they're in California, they don't want business
to the best sounding one?
California did. You closed down your
so
beaches,
lame.
your bars, your restaurants. It's a fact. You had quarantines.
False.
You had closed down.
Did a lot of damage to your people. You had You had Disney closed in it. One business to succeed.
Is that what Disney's saying to Tampa Bay?
It's not a good climate for business. They've lost a lot of companies. A lot of companies have moved to Texas. We have had some to Florida, but they've lost a lot of companies to Texas because they're not doing a good job looking out for folks and not creating a good business environment. And when I have people that come to Florida, they tell me, you guys actually want us to succeed in Florida. And they feel like when they're in California, they don't want business to succeed.
Is that what Disney's saying, the Tampa Bay Rays?
Well, actually, yeah. I think that's an interesting point with Disney because I had Disney open during COVID, and we made them a fortune, and we saved a lot of jobs. You had Disney closed inexplicably for over a year. You were not following science. You were a lockdown governor. You did a lot of damage.
Yeah, because that really hurt Disney, right, Ron?
For a longer period of time in California than anywhere else in the country. It was the working class kids. It was the middle income kids. His kids were in private school. They were in class in person. He locked people out because of the teachers' union. He is owned by the teachers' union. You will never cross the teachers' union.
Just a lot of
oh, wow. A union?
Let's talk about your record on COVID.
Because that's so fucking bad, right?
Better
a union than a corporation.
You closed down your beaches, your bars, your restaurants. It's a fact. You had quarantines. You had quarantines. You had checkpoints all over the state of Florida. By the way, I didn't say that. Donald Trump laid you out on this. Dead to right. You did that. You followed science. You followed Fauci. He followed science. He followed Fauci. You were promoting.
More people died of COVID per capita in Florida than any other state.
Promoting vaccines. You were promoting vaccines. You even wore a mask in September.
I might be wrong with that. Don't fact check me. I'm pretty sure that's true, though.
If it's okay with you, we'll do this.
Why were you closed?
Why don't we do this in a way where we both can have?
Why were you closed for so long?
You wore a mask with Donald Trump outside.
I'm trying to let it breathe.
Hey, Tyler Hackner. Always good to see you, dude.
He decided to fall prey to the fringe of his party. And as a consequence of that, Ron, tens of thousands of people lost their lives.
Not true.
The equivalent, if I had your policies, the equivalent of 10 9/11s. Tens of thousands of people lost their lives. And for what, Ron?
Those are more lies. In fact, the Lancet just did a study.
Not lies.
Florida had a lower standardized COVID death rate than California did. That's a Lancet study.
Standardized? What does that even mean?
The other thing we had.
What about death rate per capita?
California had higher excess mortality than Florida.
Gentlemen.
Let me talk about excess mortality real quick. Because
hold on a second.
I
want to ask you both.
Hannity's got no control of this.
I want everyone to be heard. If I can ask you, I really do want this to breathe.
Yeah,
I want this debate to breathe. I want it to
if
organically
you're
develop.
Just joining,
to
we're
do that, I
using
need both your
Kevin's
cooperation. I don't want to be a hall monitor. It's not my style. All right.
Apparently, you need a cable provider in order to watch it on Fox Nation, which I canceled the subscription because fuck them. And they're not streaming it live. They're making it available tomorrow, but I can't live stream tomorrow. So we're just covering this live on Meet Kevin's channel. We're just making do with what we got. Monica, good to see you as well.
You mentioned COVID. Let me go to COVID. And I plan to bring this up later, but you both took very different approaches as it comes to COVID. Governor Newsom, you issued the nation's first stay-at-home order on March 19th of 2020. Governor Desantis, you took a lot of heat for reopening schools. You opened schools in Florida in August of 2020. All right, so here's the data, which I think is important.
It's also sped up just a little bit.
Your state's death rates were almost identical.
This is factually untrue.
Hold on.
Come on, dude.
And by the way, both your states, with such different approaches, which is pretty fascinating, were both lower, significantly lower than the national average. These numbers come straight from the CDC. So, Governor Newsom, how do you explain that?
Per capita death rates in the state of Florida were 29% per capita higher. 29%.
That's not what the stats say right there.
Do you know what per capita means?
He put the graphic up there. Don't lie about it.
Necessarily
you don't need to lie about it.
Because your policies.
Just understand. You don't need to lie about it. No, it's not.
You were a lockdown governor. You locked down
one at a time. Gavin,
Gavin's right because Trump nailed him on it as well.
Tens of thousands of people died unnecessarily
the CDC
because he paved it's 29% higher death rate in the state of Florida versus
the elder homes, the care homes in Florida. That was a big deal. That was a big
on a per capita age-adjusted basis. California and Florida basically the same. Now, why is that important? Because Gavin Newsom did huge damage to people in California. He ruined livelihoods. We reopened the state very quickly. We saved thousands of jobs. We saved hundreds of thousands of jobs, thousands of businesses.
What about lives, bud?
He had the kids locked out of school because of the teachers union. That is having a generational impact. California has one of the lowest literacy rates in the country. In the most recent NAEP exam, Florida came in number 3 for 4th grade reading. California was far behind. So you should apologize for not getting your kids in school. Why didn't you get the kids in school in the summer of 2020 like we did? You bowed to the teachers union. You didn't do the job you should have done.
The only person
one at a time, quick answer,
is Ron DeSantis for the tens of thousands of lives that died unnecessarily because he played played to the fringe of his party.
We got to take a break. And finish your thought.
No, and when it comes to the issue of schools, you better be careful. You had more learning loss during COVID than the national average in the state of California. Without, it's a fact. More learning loss. Your economy contracted more in 2020.
Quick break.
Expanded slower than California in 2021. More to come on this topic.
More to come on this topic. I know it's starting off.
Fucking okay. All right.
It's been rather dull at the start.
It's actually pretty.
Coming up, many important topics that we're going to be talking about, including one issue where you might find some agreement, actually, as we continue the blue state, red state debate. We are live. We are in Alpharetta, Georgia. Thank you for being with us.
I don't see any agreement coming here, but...
All right, we're not going to listen to Meet Kevin because I don't give a shit what he has to say. Yeah, it's actually kind of evenly matched right now. Like, they're both making points. Obviously, DeSantis is a bit more dishonest and a bit more on the defensive. Newsom is, he's trying to be assertive and like on the offense, but he's finding himself more like on his heels, like more than I thought he would, honestly. But this is an interesting debate so far. Like it's far more engaging by a freaking country mile than the Republican primary debates. That's for sure. I'm gonna go grab another beer. I'm still celebrating the death of Kissinger, dude. Like, I'm so fucking happy about that. Yeah, and I'm also going to go grab my food. Sorry if it's clipping. Let me lower this a little bit. Yeah, this new headset. My mic's around here somewhere, but I'm just using this because why not? I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Thank everybody for joining. Obviously, like it's really cool that you guys are tuning in. All right.
One, but then I go to 2020, and in 2020, 68 died in California and 56 died in Florida.
A lot of people are saying he needs to clear his throat. That's Gavin Newsom's voice. It's just what it is.
He's a little gruff.
Maybe upsetting to some people. I don't know. Let's see.
Not the biggest fan of Pac-Man right now. He's really on my nerves lately, but he always covers these things.
Hey David, just watching your stream, and it looks like you really need to start taking Ozempic. Just want to let you know. Thanks.
No, I can't afford to lose any weight. Actually, I don't. I have to go Ozempic. I assume that's a joke, but no. I just had my annual physical.
All right, good for you, bud. How's everybody doing in chat?
Of keeping
Thank you guys for
having
tuning in.
Full employment, basically for the entirety of his term, is communist. Which part of having full employment, record unemployment rates for record low unemployment rates for Black and Hispanic Americans is communist? I'm having a little bit of trouble squaring the attacks of being a communist and a socialist with the
Brian
fact that
Tyler Cohen's really good. I don't watch him very often, like at all, but
every Republican administration in economic metrics in a capitalist country. I don't get it, but I would love to hear it. I would love to hear how excelling in a capitalist economy
pumpkin ale, babies.
Democrats.
Oh God, that tastes fucking good. Especially when it's pouring in
Next
glass.
debate with Governor Gavin Newsom and Governor Ron DeSantis. Gentlemen, let's move
Cheers,
on to
yo.
the issue of borders. Joe Biden's message to illegal immigrants during his campaign was, let them come. I'd have the tape, but I said I wouldn't play the tape. And since taking office,
all right, the
Biden
best
said
sound
he's
is me,
gotten
Gavin, so we're
control
going to
of
be using his.
Sure. They're saying the border's closed. Those are the numbers from our own border, so-called DeSantis.
Basically say, oh, it's
right.
exhausting.
And welcome back to Hannity as we continue our...
And Hannity can't keep it together.
Governor Gavin Newsom and Governor Ron DeSantis. Gentlemen, let's move on to the issue
calm
of
down,
borders.
Gavin.
Joe Biden's
Oh, I feel
message
sick.
to illegal immigrants during his campaign was, let them come. I'd have the tape, but I said I wouldn't play the tape. And since taking office, Biden said he's gotten control of the border. Vice President Kamala Harris, Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas, Biden's press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre have all said the border is either secure or the border is closed. Yet the Border Patrol says, well, guess what? They have been a record 6.5 million encounters with illegal immigrants.
This talking point from the right that the border is out of control is pretty ridiculous because,
they don't know how many people actually are in
Trump,
the country illegally.
very little has
Gentlemen,
actually
the American
changed.
people, I ask you, I believe it's your turn, Governor Newsom, have the American people on the issue of borders, you're defending the Biden administration, they're saying the border's secure, they're saying the border's closed, those are the numbers from our own border.
They're all
patrol.
trying to say that the border is open and
it's
not.
not.
Lied to. Biden
It's just
administration
not.
put out a
We don't
comprehensive
have
plan
open
day
borders.
one when he got sworn into office 3 years ago, and the Republican Party didn't touch it. They haven't moved on it. They play politics with us. And I'll be honest with you, I think there's probably one person I wouldn't listen to on this topic more than the guy that I'm standing next to, Ron DeSantis. He lacks any credibility on the issue of immigration. When he was in Congress, he supported amnesty. When he's in Congress, you supported John Boehner's bill. It's a fact. When you were in Congress, you supported Obama's. You supported Obama's efforts to advance comprehensive reform. The last guy you want to talk to on the issue of immigration, your immigration policy can best be described as a governor from the state of Florida going into another state, the state of Texas, lying to migrants, promising them jobs and housing, sending them to an island, Martha's Vineyard, and then sending them to a parking lot in Sacramento, California. I met with those migrants that you lied to under false pretense.
That was a
kind
big
of
fucking deal.
gamesmanship, using human beings as pawns, I think is disqualifying. So again, a guy who stands here who's been out on the Republican debate stage saying, well, he's going to be tough, he's going to shoot people with backpacks, and that he has a strategy to potentially even invade our second largest trading partner, Mexico, that has a record of supporting amnesty and supporting reforms under the Obama administration, is the last guy to be standing on stage talking about the issue of immigration reform tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's deja vu all over again with that flurry of lies. This is a guy that says the Biden administration is not lying to the public about the border. They go to the White House briefing room every day. They say the border's secure. They are lying to you. We know that that's not true. Gavin Newsom is lying to you when he says somehow I supported these things, which I didn't do. He's also lying to you about what it's going to take to solve this problem. California is a sanctuary state. They thumb their nose at federal immigration law, and this has real consequences. There was an illegal alien, Herbert Nixon Flores, who was in L.A., in custody. He was a repeat criminal. ICE wanted to take him into custody because then they would be able to deport him. L.A. refuses to work with ICE, and so they wouldn't turn him over. They end up releasing him on the street. He ends up murdering the mother of a 3-year-old little girl. Those policies are deadly. They do not work. And I'll tell you this, the Martha's Vineyard transport, Martha's Vineyard said it was a sanctuary jurisdiction. It kind of reminds me about Gavin Newsom when he restricted Californians, then he went to the French Laundry. These liberal elites, they like to impose burdens on you. They don't want to have to face the consequences of their actions. So we've got a lot of elites who want open borders, who lecture everybody else about it. Then the minute they have to deal with any of the consequences, oh man, all hell breaks loose.
How about the consequences? Hold on, we're moving on. We're moving to the next question. On the same topic. On the same topic. This is important. This is a very important question. While some migrants I know want to come to America for a better life for themselves and their family, find the American dream, I totally sympathize with them. Many good people fleeing very bad situations abroad.
While this is good for
but others are abusing the asylum process and in the process in search of where they're coming from. Well, we're now learning that many are coming from some of our top geopolitical foes, countries with little to no vetting, or people that are coming in. They're not being vetted. Look at these numbers. Between October 2021, October 2023, border agents encountered 6,386 nationals from Afghanistan, 3,153 from Egypt, 659 from Iran, the number one state sponsor of terror, 538 from Syria, 12,605 from Russia, and a whopping 26,113 from China. Now, my question, the next question goes to you, Governor Newsom. What are the odds that Biden's open borders have allowed terrorists and terror cells unvetted into this country. Is that a clear and present danger to every American?
The odds are 100%. Of course our enemies are going to take advantage of this. He opened the border. He's not. He's violating his oath of office to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. He's knowingly having 8 million come in. And yes, there's criminal aliens. There are terrorists. There's a lot of fentanyl. That we've had tens of thousands of fentanyl deaths. I've met a lot of angel parents who have lost kids to fentanyl overdose. And the problem is you'll have a college kid that may take some pill not knowing that there's fentanyl in it. And then right there, that can be fatal. They're poisoning our people. And Joe Biden is sitting on his hands. He refuses to take care of the border. He refuses to hold the drug cartels accountable. This is the vision of Biden, Harris,
Newsom. How you do that?
Open
Legalize
borders.
Drugs.
Americans suffer, and Americans continue to die because of fentanyl overdose. There will be, unfortunately, a terrorist attack at some point that we'll be able to trace back to our southern border.
By the way, do you see that risk, Governor Newsom?
Hold on.
Governor, do you see the risk?
Joe Biden put out not only a comprehensive plan, he consistently puts up plans. Hold on, no, but Sean,
is there a risk?
I'm going to answer your question. I support border security. I think the asylum system is broken. I believe that we need.
I understand that.
I'm the only guy here that's a border state governor.
It's a good response.
You're trolling folks and trying to find migrants to play political games to try to get some news and attention so you can out Trump. And by the way, how's that going for you, Ron? You're down 41 points in your own home state. On the issue of immigration, Joe Biden put a $14 billion immigration package up in front of Congress, 2,300 border agents, as well as custom officials, 1,000 new law enforcement officers to deal with the fentanyl issue. And by the way, that's a major issue in your state, 41% higher overdose rates than the state of California. And here's what I haven't heard, not a peep from Ron Desantis. They want to demagogue this issue. You want to play politics with issues. You don't want to solve this issue. Why don't you lead your party and support that $14 billion package?
Hold on. I have a follow-up. Governor Newsom, I appreciate your answer. You have mentioned comprehensive immigration reform many times. It's not happened under Joe Biden. I don't think.
Yeah, let's hear some real plans here.
Republicans in Congress refuse to act on it.
Let me finish my
Congress
question.
To work
my
with
question
this administration.
he's right.
All of these millions and millions of people coming into this country unvetted, the question was and remains, is this a clear and present danger from the countries I put up on the screen?
Those countries, they said, encountered, not came in. So I'm not sure if they're conflating.
The President of the United States put a $14 billion package in front of Congress they can act on today.
And what would that?
They haven't done anything in 2 years.
Do?
This Congress,
what do you
literally
support?
not a single piece.
You support a border wall?
Legislation. I support the $14 billion package President's put forward that includes 2,300 border agents and customs officials. By the way, also includes $850 million in new technology for border security. You hear nothing from Ron DeSantis. You hear nothing, Sean, respectfully. You hear nothing from the Republican Party. They play politics.
I'm almost out of time.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Donald Trump just put out a complete immigration plan. Also, just so you can see it, nationwide encounters.
I hear you. I hear you, Jordan.
Expulsions.
It's fucked.
So they put up encounters. I'm pretty sure they're being a little misleading
Kevin,
with that
just
chart there.
Stick to the debate. I would need to hear
probably
what they're
not
saying.
the fairness of Newsom there.
Southern border. You're a border state governor.
Well,
does that concern you at all?
Why else would I have put the
This is what Hannity and the Republicans are dancing around. Like there's a plan put forth, $14 billion package for border security, but the Republicans are not going to go along with it because it gives Joe Biden credit. It gives him a win. It gives him a bipartisan win, and they are vehemently opposed to giving him any sort of win whatsoever. It's literally like, even if it's something that they fully support and fully agree with, they'll make some sort of excuse like, oh, it's not enough, oh, it's not serious. Whereas if you actually sit and talk with them, like the details of the package itself, they would be 100% on board with each of the things that are in it. Like, oh yeah, that sounds reasonable. It's ridiculous.
Yes, why else would I put the National Guard? Why would I just increase it by 50% on the largest port in the Western Hemisphere in my state? I mean, this guy has no record. The fact that you supported amnesty, the fact you supported Obama's reforms, those are facts. They're just simple facts. The fact that your greatest contribution, Ron, to this debate is shooting people with backpacks.
I don't mind.
That's so inhumane.
I don't mind him lying to me. I don't mind Gavin lying to me, but I do mind him lying to you. He is sitting there saying that Joe Biden is willing to solve this problem. Is there anybody out there that actually believes this? Joe Biden created this problem. So if he's willing to lie to you about that, he's lying to you about all these other facts and figures, about all this other stuff. He's just throwing stuff out to see what sticks against the wall. This is a slick slippery politician whose state is failing. People are leaving his state, and he's trying to run interference for his failure.
We've got to take our second break. We're gonna when we come back.
Yeah, so that's a big thing that I want to add context to here, and that's why we want to react.
I don't care, Kevin. Yeah, that's a quick. I feel like they just took a break. That's really weird. Yeah, no. What's up? What's happening, y'all? Are you cringing as much as I am? Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I think Gavin Newsom would be a far greater choice for the Democratic Party than Joe Biden. Like, it's kind of like not even close. The odds are stacked against him here. Obviously, like, Sean Hannity, like, is not a good moderator. He obviously has a bias, and Ron DeSantis can't be nailed down on any point. Like, the points that Newsom is making against him are completely true. Like, it's like I was just talking about. It's it really comes down to the fact that the Republican Party just refuses to work with the Biden administration and the Democrats in general on anything, unless it's to conflate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. They just like pass the motion on that. Make it make sense, you know. They can agree on aid packages to Israel so they can continue bombing Palestinians into pieces once this pause is over. But when it comes, they can't attribute that to Biden. It's bigger than that. Like, Israel is bigger than the president. Fucking when it comes to passing anything, you need arms. You need aid packages. I'll sign it right off. Biden who? Yeah, it's disgusting. Alright. Who else is live? Humanist Report? Are they... Is he... covering... It's the leftist mafia. What are they talking about?
A weak person. But...
Yeah, I would never call a woman a bitch. And I don't even I don't feel right about calling a man a bitch, but I do say it as like just excitement, like, oh, bitch, you got a PS5, like something like that. You know what I mean? Like something like.
All right, love those guys. All right, is it back? How long is this gonna take? Wow, slippy doop.
It's been over a week since 2 planes carrying migrants flew into Sacramento from Florida. The first group, 16 migrants from Venezuela and Colombia, flew in June 2nd and was dropped off outside of basically downtown Sac to California without warning to California officials. A second flight with 20 migrants arrived from El Paso. Same path for the first flight, ultimately arriving at the Sac Executive
DeSantis
Airport.
is sending migrants
private
to California.
jet, these folks? Interesting. Dropped them off in California. I don't know. I mean, they've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, state-sanctioned kidnapping.
You know, otherwise, Washington, D.C., you name it. All right. I think the debate's coming back.
The defiant lawmaker tells his side of the story.
Oh, the George DeSantis guy. Oh, no. I can't believe they're putting him on.
Come on, Kevin.
His side.
All right, welcome back to the great blue state, red state debate with Governor Gavin Newsom, Governor Ron DeSantis. Again, thank you both for being here. We're going to take a little breathing room.
Yeah.
I don't mind the debate.
I hope George DeSantis just spills all the fucking beans.
I don't want to be the hall monitor.
Like how,
please don't turn me into that. Anyway, let's look at the issue of crime.
The young kid.
FBI numbers, violent crime nationally for each of your states. Keep in mind, this statistic shows what is the combined rate of homicide, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, the year 2022.
So the youngest
on the national level, the rate was 380.7 offenses
guy who talked about
for 100,000 people.
orgies.
In California, meanwhile, the rate was much higher, 499.
Well, you put San Francisco and LA
Madison
in there. It's
Cawthorn.
disgusting.
Madison
Lower,
Cawthorn.
258.9 offenses per 100,000. Governor Newsom.
I hope George Santos pulls a Madison Cawthorn.
Let me start with you. Your numbers are way higher than the national average. How do you explain that when safety and security, I would argue, is a prerequisite for the pursuit of happiness?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. We're near 50-year lows, down 55% violent crimes in the state of
Oh, so it's been even worse? Come on, Newsom, you walked on that one.
Compare and contrast that with the issue in Florida that you didn't mention, and that's the murder rate. And let's broaden it more broadly. The issue is 7 of the top
Those numbers
10,
were part of the murder rate.
7 of the top 10 murder rates in the United States of America are red states. He has a 66% higher gun death
per
rate
capita,
in the state
red
of California.
states
It's a
are
higher
more dangerous
murder
than
rate.
blue states.
Go to places like
That is
Jacksonville.
absolutely
Go to
true.
places like Orlando.
Higher,
Go to places
yes.
like Tampa. The murder
Yes.
rate's off the charts
Yes,
compared
higher murder
to
rates.
cities like San Francisco. And you know what? Even more egregiously, Sean, and I think this is important, the American people deserve an answer from you, Ron. You had one of the worst mass shootings in American history, Parkland. 17 kids were gunned down, lives lost, 17 others, lives torn asunder.
Paradise?
You had a young girl by the name of Jamie
in
Gutenberg,
Florida,
whose father pleaded with you to do something about it. And you know what you did? You did the exact opposite. You made it easier for felons to get guns without background checks, without any training. These people pleaded with the parents and the families to get tough on gun safety. And again, you made it easier for felons. He said of you, Ron, and I agree with him, after you signed that concealed carry bill, which increases the likelihood, Fred Gutenberg said, of more Jamies losing their lives and more Parklands, he called you weak, pathetic, and small. So with respect, I appreciate you're talking to police officers in the state of California. You may want to spend a little bit more time, not on the Ohio Trail and other places across this country. You may spend a little more time back in your home state and address the murder and gun violence in your own backyard.
So this is the slick politician. You put up.
Here's the Florida 9.7, California 8.8
per 100,000. Florida is 250. So that's almost twice as much. And he's trying to spin that to say California's doing good. People are leaving California in droves, largely because public safety has collapsed. They have,
He
I mean,
just keeps
you
on
go
repeating
when
himself.
Californians
It
come to
doesn't
Florida,
make
one of
him
the things
any
they'll say, it's
more
almost like
correct.
an out-of-body experience. They can go to the store, get toothpaste off the shelf, pay for it, and leave, because in a lot of these places in California, everything's under lock and key because they basically legalized retail theft. They have chosen in California to put the interests of the criminals over public safety. They treat they're easier on sex offenders. They're easier on all these crimes that are leading to a collapse in the quality of life. And if you just walk around San Francisco, you will see, and I think it's interesting, Gavin Newsom was mayor of San Francisco. So he took the San Francisco model, turned that into a template for California's collapse. Now the left wants to take the California model and use that as a template for America's
San Francisco's
collapse.
bad.
Not let
Hold on,
that happen.
wait, I got to, I got a follow-up question. You brought up
Jacksonville, Florida.
I can't even buy Legos at Walmart without getting a lock to unlock it from an employee.
Governor, let me bring up your,
it's 84%.
the next question dovetails
in
into
Tampa,
this.
It's 75% higher. What?
Let me also say,
what are you talking about
you're
when it
just
comes to
jabbering.
this?
I know you like to jabber.
By the way, those
I
are
know you
all
like
easily
to, I know you like to lie.
Anytime you're uncomfortable,
he put the statistics up there.
Those are all
your
facts.
crime is
What
higher.
Are you doing
we
about
know
the
your
gun
crime's
murder rate?
higher.
Gentlemen,
what are you
I'm
doing
going to move
about
on.
the gun murder rate in your state?
We'll let the audience. We'll let the audience look at the numbers, the FBI numbers, and decide. According to the gun control advocacy group, every town for gun safety. Okay, California has the most, as you support, I know, Governor, restrictive gun laws in the United States. Florida has the 19th most restrictive. Yet, if you look at the year 2019, when each of you took office, California has had 21 mass shootings. Florida has had 9. Now, that is according to...
It's almost like there's twice as many people in California as there is in Florida.
To a USA Today, AP...
What's a bigger state, too?
University database.
Even Kevin gets it. Come on.
Keep in mind, a mass killing is defined as the intentional killing of 4 or more victims, excluding the deaths of unborn children and the offenders by any means within a 24 period of time. I believe, Governor DeSantis, you get this first.
What California wants to do is they want to make it harder for law-abiding citizens to defend themselves. Then they go easy on the criminals who are perpetrating the crime. They don't stand up for the men and women of law enforcement. That's why a lot of people have left the state, because they don't get the support from the communities that they need. And, Gavin told another lie. He said we made it easier for felons to do. Felons are not allowed to possess firearms. That's federal law. That's been long standing.
No background checks.
That is an absolute lie that he's saying like that. That has nothing to do with buying or purchasing a weapon. So that's just a lie, another lie. That's
background checks.
Yeah,
no,
people are leaving California in droves
to
because he has failed to stand up for public safety. They are on an ideological joyride to let people out of prison early, to go easy on them. Heck, your buddy, Gavin's buddy in Los Angeles, Gascon, he doesn't even prosecute. When I was in Southern California for the Reagan debate, a lot of the women tell me they have to take off all their jewelry just to be able to go shopping, because otherwise they're going to get mugged. That is the reality that people are facing in California. Right. Gavin can try to put lipstick on that pig, but the fact of the matter is he has failed the people of California.
Governor Newsom. I love this guy talking about backing the blue when you dangled pardons for January 6 insurrectionists, 85 of them that were literally charged with attacking law enforcement. You talk a big game about backing the blue. With all due respect to the crime rate, again, he's not answering the fact that he has a higher murder rate than the state of California, a 66% higher gun death rate than the state of California. Yeah. And I can easily answer this point. Gun safety saves lives. I don't think it, I know it. And the data bears that out in the state of California. California proudly does lead in terms of common sense gun safety. Common sense gun safety saves lives. You had the chance to do something meaningful. You had a chance to do something on behalf of those Parkland families. You did the exact opposite. You moved in the exact opposite direction. Yep. With all due respect, look at your own backyard, Ron. You're not mining your backyard.
He is really like standing firm.
We have some of the even if he has to repeat the same shit over and over. Attorneys like your buddy Gascon in L.A., one in Tampa, one in Orlando. They were endangering the public, and I removed them from their posts. Gavin Newsom has not lifted a finger to rein in Gascon in L.A. That city has collapsed. That county's collapsed because he is not enforcing the law. So that's just the and here's the thing.
American
this is what's happening. That California model,
we're a little over time.
In Philadelphia, Baltimore,
15 seconds. We got to go break. Come on.
I mean, you're running for president of the United States. You're talking down the great state of California. You're talking down one of the great American cities, Los Angeles. That's insulting. Yeah. And you're doing it because you're trying to obfuscate the facts that you have a higher murder rate in the state of Florida and the state of California. We have some of the lowest crime rates we've had in 50 years.
Well, we'll have more with Governor DeSantis, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Okay, so
it's
first
so
of all,
funny.
on the concealed carry thing, because
all right, multiple breaks within a short period of time. Like the last break was 12 minutes ago. Like, all right, I guess like there's a lot of like advertising being pumped into this because like this debate is obviously going to attract a lot of eyes, you know. Yeah, completely understandable. I mean, it's a lively debate so far, like undoubtedly. 52,000 people are watching Brian Tyler Cohen. 38,000 watching David Pakman. Ooh.
Thank you for being with us. We are in beautiful Alpharetta, Georgia. Thank you for joining us on Hannity.
I don't know how many more times we can see Ron DeSantis pivot to people are leaving California in droves. People like
no kidding.
Newsom will get all of these shots in about proving. And by the way, this is all of his numbers were based on
55,000 watching Brian,
which is not a liberal group. Third Way. I'll pull up the study right now. Here we go. The Red State Murder Problem, published by Third Way. Trump voting states account for 8 of the 10 highest murder rates in 2020. The top murder rate states: Mississippi, Louisiana, Kentucky, Alabama, Missouri. Then we have New Mexico, then Georgia, Arkansas, Tennessee. So New Mexico, blue state; Georgia, blue insofar as it voted, insofar as how it voted in 2020.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Mississippi, Louisiana, Kentucky, Alabama, Missouri, South Carolina,
deep
Arkansas,
fucking
and Tennessee,
South, yo.
Like, these are all Trump voting states.
Yep.
And again, this is not like some liberal.
And they're some of the poorest states.
Here's another fact: 2020 murder rates are 40% higher in Trump voting states compared to Biden voting states.
Yeah, that's
Between
all true.
2019 and 2020, murder rates increased slightly faster in Trump voting states than Biden voting states. Wyoming had the fastest murder rate increase in the United States at 92%. Then it was South
Wow.
Dakota.
Jesus Christ. Like,
6
again,
of the 10 highest
red
murder
states.
rate increases are in Trump voting states. Like, there is no way around this. And of course, Newsom said all of this, and then Ron DeSantis goes back on his usual. He goes back to the bridge of the song, which is "People are leaving California in droves," and he just gets like reset. He just resets himself, and he goes right back to the initial refrain because this outsider, definitely not a politician, has like 4 pre-programmed talking points, and he just like goes right back to them in the immediate aftermath of being faced with something that he doesn't know how to rebut. So we are more than halfway through. We've got about 35 minutes left in this debate. If you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel. It's the best way to support what I do. It's the best way to support these live streams. I know that there's not a lot of places airing this debate right now. So again, if you're appreciative of live streams like this one, hosting debates like this one, and other coverage that
people meet me, and then when I start speaking another language, they get confused. And I'm like, Black people speak other languages too. Like, why are y'all confused? But they get super confused. Like, oh my God, like, you speak another language?
Yeah. Another boner pill commercial break. I haven't even been seeing what they have been advertising.
Christ, dude.
Lobbying for a bill in Rhode Island that mandates union labor rights in schools. Also a plaintiff.
Nice.
Yeah, Nate, you've been calling in for years telling me about your DOL case. I don't know much about it, so it's hard to weigh in substantively. Chit says, like rounds in a boxing match. Bryce says, I moved from Florida to California in 2014. If Hannity wanted to hit California, he'd talk about renter housing. Absolute top-tier propagandist.
Yep. Yep.
Pastel Del
Absolutely
Mar.
true.
5 gifted subscriptions, putting us at 126. Hey, David, I heard you drink a lot. Oh, don't worry. I have a girlfriend now, but I lie to her about my age. I told her I'm 20. Man, I don't know what this guy's talking about.
What the fuck?
What's with the ads? Are all
of the state of California. Gentlemen, let's turn to the issue of parental rights. Now, in March of last year, Governor DeSantis, as you know, you signed the Parental Rights in Education bill. And let me read from it. It says, classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in according with state standards. Critics have called the bill, quote, homophobic. This is the one they branded the Don't Say Gay bill. I ask you, Governor DeSantis, in especially the lower grades, should schools, and maybe all grades, should schools be focusing on reading, writing, math, science, history, computers, and maybe leaving values, considering
DeSantis
parents
like, I
might
can't
have
wait to
different
talk about
values than
this
teachers
bullshit.
at school, to the parents, to religious institutions, or is it the role of the school? What is the role?
The role of the school is to educate kids, not indoctrinate kids. It's not to impose an agenda. It's to do the basics. And what we've said in Florida is it's inappropriate to tell a kindergartner that their gender is a choice. It's inappropriate to tell a second grader that they may have been born in the wrong body. Now, California has that. They want to have that injected into the elementary school.
True.
My wife and I have a 7-5 and a 3-year-old. We don't think that that's appropriate. And I know most parents do not think it's appropriate. It's also important to respect parental rights to know what curriculum is being used in the classroom, and everything should be age appropriate. I actually have something that I brought that some parents have objected to. So this is a book that's in some of the schools in California. Florida, this is not consistent with our standards, called Gender Queer. Some of it's blacked out. You would not probably be able to put this on air. This is pornography. It's cartoons. It's aimed at children. And it's wrong. So this should not be in schools. When people on the left say that somehow you're banning books by removing this from a young kid's classroom. No, this is not age appropriate. And so we're going to stand for the rights of parents. I think we need to do that nationwide. I don't think you can have a situation where some states just trample on the rights of parents. Parents have a fundamental right to direct the education and upbringing of their kids.
I mean, by the way, you've been on a
Absolutely
banning bench. 1,406 books have been banned just last year under Ron DeSantis' leadership. I love that he keeps pulling this out. I've seen this. He's been doing this all over the campaign trail. What's wrong with Toni Morrison's books?
It's not banned.
What's wrong? It's not true.
Not.
What's wrong with Amanda Gorman's?
Not banned.
And the poetry.
Not banned. Those are false
1,406 books have been banned on your banning bench in the state of Florida. As it relates to parental rights, come on, California, it's in our Constitution, parental engagement. It's called the LCFF process. We actually require parental engagement on curriculum development. And we don't, complete lie, we don't require K through third grade sexual education. That doesn't happen until middle school. What you're doing is using education as a sword
that's
for your
absolutely
cultural
correct.
purge.
As a Californian,
And you know
that's
what? With all
exactly
due
how it was
respect,
for me.
You know, I remember in the 1970s. In the 1970s, we had a bill called the Briggs Initiative. And there was a guy by the name of Ronald Reagan, so offended by the Briggs Initiative, which was the original Don't Say Gay bill. In that case, it was not allowing teachers that happened to be gay to teach. And Reagan had the courage to stand up, and he said, you can't catch gay like you can measles. I don't like the way you demean people. I don't like the way you demean the LGBTQ
Reagan actually
community.
said that, huh?
I don't like
Wow.
the way you demean and humiliate people.
You'll
who
never hear me
disagree
say
with
this
law.
again, but
I really
based
find this
Reagan.
fundamentally offensive. And this is a core value that distinguishes the values of my state and, frankly, the vast majority of Americans against the weaponization of education and the purging that he's advanced.
I have a follow-up. Quickly right here, Florida District removes roughly 300 books last year. Here, let's go back there.
Are the book banning issues, is that not a state issue? Is that a state issue or a local issue?
Local.
Ooh, good question.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
The home book wasn't
But
there.
here's the question I have.
1,400
Here's the
books.
question.
Also, email McKay now for a special bundle on the courses. Staff at kevin.com.
Kevin.
One is called, the governor just brought it up, it's called Gender Queer, a memoir, explicit pornographic book showing sex acts. Another,
Right there.
Flamer, graphic book about young boys performing sex acts at summer camp. This book is gay, a book containing instructions on the ins and outs of gay sexuality. Let me finish. Let's Talk About It, a book that contains graphic descriptions about how to masturbate for males and females. My question to you, Governor Newsom, those books, do you believe that's appropriate for school districts to teach kids? Yes or no?
Come on, those aren't not. It's not part of the curriculum. They're not teaching.
Those
kids
are
that.
those are books that were in school.
Hold on. The bottom line is you are on a book banning binge. Your state.
You
1,406 books, 3,362 in this country.
You didn't answer.
Florida's
what about
leading-
those
no,
books?
Florida. That's not. We don't provide for K through third grade education that kind of curriculum. It's just made up. These guys make it up.
That's
it's
true.
part of this cultural
Yeah,
purge.
like that's actually the point. Like, you aren't required to read those books. Is not like it is not mandated. It's not like school assignments. It's not classroom assignments. Those are not part of the curriculum. That is the point that Gavin Newsom is making.
What grade would it be acceptable?
What I find offensive, Sean and Ron, what I find offensive is a very significant number of these books happen to be LGBTQ books. A significant number of these books
Do you think it's
happen to be
appropriate in
about
school?
African Americans.
Do you
And
think
I
it's
just honestly find it
Governor?
I
Do you
told you,
think it's
we don't
appropriate in
teach that.
school?
We don't teach that.
Here's one of them. Look, this book is gay. It talks like trans. Are you bi? What are you?
Appropriate. This is a ginned up, made up issue to divide this country. You talk about dividing this country. This is part of the culture war, the weaponization of grievance. This is part using education. We're focusing on math, science. We're focusing on reimagining our school
We're gonna
system.
get to education
He's criminalizing teachers and criminalizing librarians.
Get this off the screen, Kevin.
Schools
Come on.
to impose a liberal agenda, social justice. They have this ethnic studies where they're dividing people. That's what they're doing. But let me just say something about parents' rights, because he says California respects parents' rights. This is rich. He's been telling a lot of whoppers tonight. This may be the biggest. In California, if you're a parent in Iowa or New Hampshire or South Carolina, your minor child can go to California without your knowledge or without your consent and get hormone therapy, puberty blockers, and a sex change operation, all without you knowing or consenting. How in the heck is that honoring parents' rights when you're bringing people from out of state to go around their parents' backs and getting life-altering surgeries? That is radical. That is
Ron,
extreme.
these kids-
That is an
That's
assault
not
on parents'
happening.
rights.
You know what?
That is not
Ron,
happening.
not for you to decide. It's for the parents to decide.
You know what?
And the
These
parents
kids
do not
just
want
to
kids
survive.
going
I
to these
find this,
other
honestly,
things.
Let me
these
go
kids
to a
have the
follow-up.
highest
Let me
suicide rates
stay on a
in the
follow-up.
country.
Let's
They wanna
turn to the
survive.
issue of
Where's your
education.
decency and humanity?
Come on, Sean.
Decency of ripping somebody away.
Gentlemen, please. Nobody can hear you.
That is wrong. That is wrong.
All right.
Parents should not
Shut up.
This is ridiculous.
And if I may, to the issue of education, here is public school spending per K through 12 students, according to the Education Data Initiative from the U.S. Census Bureau and National Center for Education. Florida spends nearly $12,000 per student, while California spends over $16,000. Florida is ranked #1 by U.S. News and World Report in terms of state education rankings.
That is
California
wild to me.
ranks 20th. Governor Newsom, what is your explanation? You spend more money and they have better results in Florida. Why?
I told you what I'm doing in public education. We created a brand new grade, pre-K for all. We're doing after school and summer school for all. We're reimagining the school day, not just the school year. We just provided 3.4 million of our students upwards of $2 billion for child savings accounts and the opportunity to start businesses when they graduate. We have one of the best records under COVID, during COVID. And again, you didn't answer to the fact you had more learning loss. Ron DeSantis had more learning loss during COVID. 4th grade reading, 4th grade math, 8th grade reading, 8th grade math. We outperformed you in it's a fact during COVID in every one of those categories. I can't wait to get all the PolitiFacts tonight because, Ron, you keep denying some basic fundamental facts on health, wealth, and education. We outperformed you during COVID. You talk about things to apologize. You should apologize for your COVID record. You were with Fauci. You aligned with vaccines. You aligned with CDC guidelines until you didn't in tens of thousands of people.
Let's return our focus to education.
Well, when we opened the schools, we bucked all of those people June of 2020. He kept the schools closed for a long time, and that had devastating impacts. And why? What Gavin Newsom does in California is kowtow to the teachers union. Whatever they tell him to do, he does. He will never balk the teachers union. That's why the kids were locked out of school for so long. Joe Biden is in the pocket of the teachers union, and so is Kamala Harris. That's why they fought school openings when he came in there. When they had that in there. Biden came into office and he brought in the teachers union to be able to do all these different things to try to keep the schools closed. So the Democratic Party, the far left in this country, they are owned lock, stock, and barrel by the teachers union. I beat the teachers union in Florida to get the schools open, first in the country during COVID. Also to do universal school choice. Every parent in Florida has a right to send their kid to the school of their choice. We're winning these fights. California is bending the knee to the union because they control the politicians.
Let's move on. A topic that will seemingly play a very large role in the future elections, and it's the issue of abortion. I have a question.
Yeah, DeSantis, by the way, fact check, did ban automatic deductions for unions, and that if you wanted to be part of the union, you had to manually enroll it and enroll in your union dues and pay it. Enroll in your union dues and pay it.
Medical professionals believe a baby is viable outside of a mother's womb by between 24 and 26 weeks. That is the general scientific consensus. It changes. There are some variations on it. Abortion is legal in your state, quote, up to viability, is my understanding, unless the mother's health is in danger. I'd like to get you on.
That's about 20 weeks.
You've been unwilling to answer this question. Should there be any restrictions on the issue of abortion that you support at all? Because funding in California, you have allocated in your budget $265 million for abortion last year alone. My question, very specific. Do you support any restrictions at all on abortion, especially in months 7, 8, and 9, past viability?
I'm going to answer that question, but let's talk about the issue of abortion. Let's talk about the issue of abortion.
You're going to answer it?
I'm going to answer that question. I'll repeat that. But I think this is important, and it bears repeating. Ron DeSantis has signed the most extreme anti-abortion bills in America. He signed a bill banning any exceptions for rape and incest. And then he said it didn't go far enough and decided to sign a 6-week ban before women even know they're pregnant, Ron, before women can even access a doctor's appointment. So extreme is your ban that criminalizes women and criminalizes doctors that even Donald Trump said it was too extreme. On the issue of the extreme exception that you highlight as it relates to the issue of later term abortion, it's almost always because of a fetal anomaly, the life of the mother. And in those rare cases,
true.
I trust, in answer to your question, I trust the mother and her doctor to make that decision.
So in other words, I want to be clear on this.
Third-term abortions account for like less than like 2 or 3%.
No,
I'm asking
extremely rare.
Should there be?
I know where you guys are going, Sean. You're even uncomfortable with this whole issue. And I watched this is where you guys have to go to cover for the extreme anti-abortion agenda of Ron DeSantis.
Should there be? Would you support a ban on abortion in 7th, 8th, or 9th month if the mother's life is not in jeopardy?
Extreme exception. People aren't going on and having abortions.
Should it be illegal then?
Unless something
If it's
devastating
rare,
has happened.
should it be illegal?
It should be up to the mother and her doctor and her conscience.
If it's rare, why should it be illegal? If it's rare, if it happens in emergencies, whether you're not getting about this, Sean.
Abortion ban in the country. I have a simple question though. This is important.
No. I'm asking the question.
Ron DeSantis, will you or will you not sign a 6-week ban in the unlikely case you become president of the United States?
Let's
would
talk
you sign a national ban?
not even Trump would do that, dude.
You had 15
It's a losing issue, and even fucking Trump understands that because he doesn't like to lose.
Less than 1% of babies are aborted past 21 weeks.
Yes, even Kevin gets it. Like, fuck.
Was it for religious reasons? Was it for scientific reasons? What was the reason for you from going from 15 weeks to 6 weeks?
Well, I believe in a culture of life. I think we're better off when everybody counts, when everybody has an opportunity to do well. And that bill attaches when there's a detectable heartbeat for the child. And some states have done that. Some states have done others. Some states have done later. And obviously they have a right to do that. But I think about one of our Floridians, a lady named Penny Hopper. She actually survived a late-term abortion back in the day. And they left her on the table there to basically wither away. Her grandmother came, saved her, brought her to a hospital, saved her, and she ended up living a good life. So she counts and she matters. And I think that what the position that we have from the modern left, including in California, is that they will take your tax dollars and they will fund abortion all the way to the moment of birth. He's wrong when he says the later terms are all because of this. 88% past 15 weeks are in fact elective from the Florida data. He doesn't keep data there, but that is really extreme to take your tax dollars.
Well, a lot of people just find out that they're pregnant at like 14, 15.
To the moment of birth. He didn't answer your question about any type of protections at all
filling the room
for a baby
with
that has
hot
a
air
beating
right
heart,
now,
that can feel pain, that is viable.
Let me hold on.
Respectfully, this is
You're on screen some data.
Will you not support
You didn't
a
answer,
national
Sean.
Ron,
Why didn't you answer
or will
his
you
question?
not support
Why didn't
a
you
national
support?
ban if it lands on your desk? You couldn't answer that in any other context.
Okay,
answer
gentlemen,
it tonight. It's a
we're
simple
moving
yes.
on
By
to
the
the
way,
next issue.
In the primary
Sean,
debates,
not
like, you still won't answer
the
that.
American people should know this. I'll answer it for Ron DeSantis. He can't answer it. He will sign that extreme 6-week
let me move on.
ban. American people should know that.
I'm calling this the light.
Newsom's trying to get women voters by saying that.
I'm not a potted plant here.
Obviously.
And I want to
like
ask
that's
you,
just a
we
bad
all
thing.
know that
Like,
federal policy does have a huge impact
why do you
on
think
states.
there
We
wasn't
know
a
that.
red wave?
I'm going to ask you 3 simple questions, and I just want one-word answers, okay, from 3 of you, because
do our best.
We're coming up on a break. And the issue is right now Joe Biden is president. So I would like both of you to give a grade to Joe Biden overall as president. Governor Newsom, I'll give A.
An A, absolutely.
Governor
I think it's been a
DeSantis.
master
failed.
And a failure. Okay.
No, that's your
Now,
opinion.
number 2, are
give me
his
a break.
policies helping or hurting your
ball
individual
fumbler.
states?
Give
Is
me
it
a
helping
break,
the state of
Gavin.
Florida?
The inflation is hurting our state big time.
Grade.
Fail. He failed.
Yeah.
He's failed
What
on the
would you-
economy.
The guy just took
Is it helping
$28
the
million
state of
from the
California?
Science and Tech Act. Thank you, Joe Biden. It's absolutely accelerating our dominance in manufacturing, accelerating our revitalization
Okay,
of
that
our
was a
state.
simple
The answer is
answer.
unequivocally,
Lastly.
absolutely yes.
Okay, I will ask you, Governor DeSantis. I have played over and over again, and Governor Newsom, you have seen over and over again. Joe Biden is experienced what I believe to be significant cognitive decline. And in other words, it's the toughest job in the world. Is Joe Biden experiencing this cognitive decline? Is it a danger to the country? Do you find when he speaks, what is your reaction to it?
Yes, he's in decline. Yes, it's a danger to the country. He has no business running for president. And, Gavin Newsom agrees with that. He won't say that, but that's why he's running his shadow campaign. He should not be running. He is not up to the job.
That's actually,
and it is dangerous for this country.
I will take Joe Biden at 100 versus Ron DeSantis any day
That's
of the
a
week.
good point. I would as well.
You think he's up to the job? You think he's 100%?
I've been spending plenty of time
compared to you, bud. Yeah.
Let him answer.
Yeah.
You don't know. And by the way, results matter. Inflation now is down to 3.2%. Wages are up to 4.4%. The economy is booming. 5.2% GDP growth in the last quarter. Those are facts you don't hear on Fox News. 14 million jobs, 10 times.
Let me
more
move
than
on. That was the lightning
President
round. Now, on March 31st, 1968, President Lyndon B. Johnson famously said, "I shall not seek and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president." Now, despite being an incumbent president who is eligible to run for re-election, Governor Newsom, I've interviewed you twice on this issue. You say you are not running for president in 2024. In fact, you recently said, quote, you think that Vice President Harris is naturally the one lined up to run for president if Joe Biden were to bow out. Governor Newsom, tonight I ask you, will you make an LBJ-like statement? And Governor DeSantis, you say he's running a shadow campaign. In your response, I would like you to answer that. Will you say unequivocally, under no circumstances are you running?
Correct. I've said, I don't know how many times I can say it, just making this stuff up about a shadow campaign.
If at the DNC convention they come and ask you, will you run? What will you say?
Joe Biden will be our nominee in a matter of weeks. And in a matter of weeks, Sean, he'll be endorsing Donald Trump as a nominee for the Republican Party.
If they come to you at the DNC and Joe is incapable of running and they ask you, are you a hard no?
It's not even optional. He's doing fantastically. I appreciate and respect the work the president's doing and the vice president's, the Biden-Harris campaign and team. So absolutely unequivocally, I look forward
Harris would be the next
continuing to support their efforts. President Biden will be reelected. Donald Trump will be rejected.
I think what he's saying should color every single thing. I mean, I've called him on a lot of the lies, but he says Joe Biden is 100% up to the job. You know that that's not true. Anybody that can look, he wants you to believe him over your own lying eyes. When he says the economy is so great, how great is it when you're going to the grocery store now? How great is it when you're trying to afford a home? How are those interest rates doing? What about affording a new car?
Oh, you mean like how it's been for the past, like,
we have to understand that Biden is not a
plus.
But here's, I think, the problem. What Biden would do, the people around him, they would look to California for the model to go forward in the next 4 years. That would accelerate the decline of this country. Yeah. Freedom is what works. The failures need to be left in the dustbin of history.
Yeah, tell about freedom to women that you're trying to criminalize in your state. And
all right, we're retreating to old ground. For years,
notion of freedom,
gentlemen,
it is not a state of freedom.
One of the things I wanted to accomplish here is the policies that you both implement have a great impact on the citizens of your individual states. For years, a gallon of gasoline, Governor Newsom, in California has been notably higher in your state than in the state.
Yeah, California taxes are very high on gas, like 75 cents to a buck.
Cost for a gallon of gas nationwide, just over $3.24. In Florida, $3.17. In California, it is a whopping $4.85. So, Governor Newsom, I ask you, you've also sued big oil companies, alleging executives have deceived the public about the health of our planet, knowing that it's a polluter. If your lawsuit is successful, that would likely mean higher gas prices, even higher gas prices for everybody. Here's my question, though. Could you name right now one source of energy that you can bring online in the next 3 to 6 months that would be as inexpensive for the people in this country as fossil fuels?
Let me touch.
Can you think of that energy?
Let me touch on I'm going to get to your question, and then let me touch the latter part of your question. Let me get to the first part of the question.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. Since the 1980s, Republican administrations, Democratic administrations have experienced, under their stewardship, experienced higher gas prices in the state of California. We've been ripped off by big oil. We continue to be ripped off by big oil. Big oil now
are still
is
high.
A new foe, and that's the state of California, the most aggressive anti-gouging law in America. more transparency being required than any time
Lobbying
in
was
America.
done in California
and yes,
to
we're suing the industry responsible for this climate crisis. By the way, the same climate crisis that Ron DeSantis celebrated as human caused, who campaigned for a fracking ban, who campaigned to oppose offshore oil drilling, and then 2 days after he got elected, signed an executive order. By the way, Nikki Haley had you dead to right on this, Ron. Signed an executive order doubling down, saying you're adamantly opposed to fracking, adamantly opposed to offshore oil drilling. You were celebrated by the Sierra Club for that action until you weren't. Once again, it shows the hypocrisy of Ron DeSantis. Now you're running away from climate change as things have gotten worse. Hurricanes, wildfires, droughts, and floods. $179 billion of weather-weighted related disasters. And he has no response except talking points from big oil.
Governor Newsom. That was a mouthful. Again, just more lies. But here's the thing: California is the only one that oil companies are gouging. Why aren't they doing that to Georgia or Florida or these other states that have lower gas prices? Because of their policies. That's why people are paying more there. Gavin
DeSantis isn't wrong here.
What he's doing in California, what Biden wants to do nationally, is government-dictated green energy policies. They want to kneecap fossil fuels and reliable energy. We've already seen what's happened in California. They have rolling blackouts. He actually implemented a mandate to buy electric vehicles. So pretty soon in California, you're not going to be able to buy a normal car, only electric vehicles. And they celebrated that as like a great thing. A couple days later, there was a notice from the state government telling all EV owners, do not plug in your EV because they don't have enough grid capacity. So he is walking his people into a big-time disaster. What Biden wants to do is he wants to take the California model. He wants to impose that nationally. He wants to take away your ability to purchase the car that you want. He wants to kneecap reliable energy. And he wants to bring these rolling blackouts all across the United States of America. It doesn't work. It's going to cause huge problems. We have more energy here. We can be the dominant energy producer in the world,
Florida.
and that's what we're going to do. Florida is not a big energy state. We have the Marcellus Shale. We have the West Texas. We have all of that. So let's do that. No forcing electric vehicles.
We got to take a break.
Save the American automobile.
When we come back, we'll continue the great state, red state, blue state debate.
Woo boy! I don't know, man. It's just politicians. Oh, I hate it. Look at this, though. Not highly untrue here. Amid heat wave, California asks electric vehicle owners to limit charging. This is in the new.
You know what's really funny? The fact that, like, clearly it's the... Oh, this was in 2022, dude. Come on. Like, clearly it's the hottest year on record. It continues getting hotter and hotter and hotter every single year. And yet, like the solution from the Republicans is to, like, just keep burnt. God damn it, I'm sorry. Keep burning fossil fuels. Forget about electric vehicles. Like, this stupidity is, like, fucking making my brain melt. Like, yeah, the grid's going to be stressed if it's hot. Wow. Shocker. God damn it, dude. Alright. Right.
These are the numbers for the homeless population in each of your states. It is a big problem around the country. In the state of California, it is 172,000. In Florida, it is 26,000. Now, the per capita numbers are pretty much the same. For California, it is 44 per 10,000 people, while Florida has 12 per 10,000 people. So, Governor DeSantis, I ask you, why the disparity? What are the policies you are implementing that is different from that of California?
California is adopting leftist policies. Gavin Newsom was governor or mayor of San Francisco. He put out a 10-year plan like 20 years ago. He was going to end homelessness. Then a few years later, he had another plan. And now he says he's going to do, and it's only gotten worse. In the last 10 years in California, the homeless has gone up 45%. It's gone down in Florida 45%. But it's caused a huge problem with quality of life in California. The people that flee always bring up this. They've really empowered lawlessness and drug use. And, you know, Gavin Newsom at one point tried to say that California was the freedom state. I just kind of laughed, like you're locking people down, you're doing all this. But then I thought about it, you know, California does have freedoms that some people don't, that other states don't. You have the freedom to defecate in public in California. You have the freedom to pitch a tent on Sunset Boulevard. You have the freedom to create a homeless encampment under a freeway and even light it on fire. You have the freedom to have an open-air drug market and use drugs. You have the freedom, if you're an illegal alien, to get all these taxpayer benefits. So those are freedoms. They're not the freedoms our founding fathers envisioned, but they have contributed to the destruction of the quality of life in California, and the results speak for themselves. People are leaving the state because they have failed in addressing the homeless population.
Well, I love the rant on freedom. I mean, here's a guy who's criminalizing teachers, criminalizing doctors, criminalizing librarians, and criminalizing women that seek their reproductive care. You're making it harder to vote. You're banning books. I mean, spare me this notion of freedom. Ask the folks at Disney about freedom and free enterprise. Ask the folks at the Special Olympics that you threatened to fine with $27
because they were discriminating against the athletes.
Who goes after
those
Special Olympians
when it comes
to the
with Down syndrome?
Of homelessness,
that is wrong. That's being a liberal bully. That's being a bully.
Really?
They had Down syndrome, and you wanted to discriminate against them.
$27 million
they were discriminating against because they were discriminating against the athletes. They wanted to marginalize the athletes, and you wanted the athletes marginalized. That was wrong what you did. These are kids with Down syndrome. By the way, that just wanted to compete.
I grew up working
and you wanted them out of the Special
I've been
Olympics.
Working with Special
You're a liberal
Olympians
bully.
all my life.
You wanted them to be. You wanted them to be ostracized.
You should
talk to Isabella from Florida. She got to participate because we stood up for her.
This is how you treat. By the way, no, hold on.
It's your turn.
Let me say. I can handle that. I can handle it. I'm used to that. But you know what?
You wanted her
your attacks on the trans community, your attack on the gay and lesbian community.
That's wrong.
You attack vulnerable communities. You attack women.
And we made sure they could compete.
Ron, relax. I can handle it. I'm used to bullying. You're nothing but a bully.
You're a bully.
I understand that. Intimidating and humiliating people, that's your calling card.
Why did you want the Special Olympians not to be able to compete?
How well is it going for you?
Why did you want them not to be able to compete?
How well is this campaign going?
Why do you not want them to be able to compete?
He's not going to let me talk, so
I don't understand why you would want to discriminate
against
them.
I'll remind you,
the
blueprint.
He wanted them
the blueprint
for
Florida.
Let me
put Ron DeSantis 41 points down.
Let's go back.
Donald Trump as you try to get tough.
We said that.
Out Trump.
Let's go back
on the issue of homelessness has been an issue for decades in the making in the state of California, ever since we started shuttering down our mental health institutions.
This is why we need progressives in charge of fucking states,
governor in California history to take this head on. We're investing unprecedented resources, more accountability. We've gotten 68,000 people off the streets, close to 6,000 encampments we've gotten off the streets. We've also invested in unprecedented resources in reforming our behavioral health system. Ron has literally the worst mental health system in America, forgive me, outside of Mississippi and Texas. And so with all due respect to being lectured on some of these topics, Ron DeSantis is not the one I'm going to be listening to.
30-second response. You're, well, I'm looking at total time. Governor DeSantis.
Yeah. This is so annoying because, like, obviously homelessness is terrible in California.
There's a lot of plots on that. You may be asking, what is that plotting? Well, this is an app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco. And you see how almost the whole thing is covered, because that is what has happened in one of the previous greatest cities this country's ever had. Human feces is now a fact of life, except
what's your point?
When a communist dictator comes to town. Then they cleaned up the streets. They lined the streets with Chinese flags. They didn't put American flags there. They cleaned everything up. So they're willing to do it for a communist dictator, but they're not willing to do it for their own people.
I want to get in with the limited time we have left. I want to
that's
get
actually
to
a very good
issues
point. Like,
hit.
I've been to San
After
Francisco.
the Hamas
It
terror
does
attacks
say a lot
on
that, like,
October the 7th, we have seen
the only
what is
time to
nothing
decide to
short of
clean
a
the whole
disturbing
fucking
outbreak
like
of virulent
it is kind of a filthy
hatred,
city.
anti-Semitism
Like,
around the world,
not
in the
gonna
halls
lie.
of our Congress,
It does say a
on
lot.
American streets, on college campuses. Last month, outside
Liberal
in
fucking-
Sydney Opera House in Australia. We've seen it all
God, I
over
hate
Europe,
liberals.
but in Australia, anti-Israeli protesters, literally in this day and age, chanting "Gas the Jews, F the Jews." In American cities,
God
we have
damn it,
protesters
dude.
calling for global Islamic war and demanding
What
that
are you
Israel be
fucking
wiped off the
talking
map,
about, dude?
or in the words of
How about
Congresswoman
stop the
Tlaib, from the
fucking
river
genocide?
to the sea. Israel, meanwhile, is vowing to
That
eradicate
seems to be like
the
a
terrorist group
far
Hamas.
more fucking
But according
common
to a report in the New York
call
Times
by the
this week,
protesters,
U.S. officials
dude.
have warned Israel that they need more to fight more surgically in Gaza. Governor Newsom, 30 seconds for you. We have to cut back on time.
All right.
How can Israel win the war against this terrorist group
They can't.
using surgical strikes and directions from Joe Biden?
Israel. I visited Israel. I met with families, hostages. I saw videos of children being killed in front of their parents, parents being killed in front of their children. I saw a beheading with a garden hoe. This is not complicated to me. This is a fight between good and evil. Hamas is a terrorist organization, and they need to be eliminated, not just for the people of Israel and Jews around the world, but for the Palestinians themselves. But when it comes to the issue of anti-Semitism, you just mentioned a lot of things that have been occurring on Ron DeSantis's watch. He said nothing.
You're calling him
Masked man
anti-Semitic?
marching. I'm saying he countenanced anti-Semitism, and now he's finally talking a big game ever since October 7th.
Yeah, no,
I thought the masked
that's
man
not a bad
was
point. Talk about the Nazis marching through Florida. Yeah.
Look at the
Hamas
record.
wants nothing short than a second Holocaust. They want to destroy Israel and wipe every single Jew off the map.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm
Israel
talking
has
about.
every
like,
right to defend itself to the hilt. Biden
comes
should not
to
be
being
kneecapping them in
pro-Israel.
any way, shape, or form. And by the way, Biden stranded.
I got the poo map, by the way. Basically,
Shut up,
openthebooks.com
Kevin.
mapped every time poo was
God
reported
damn
in
it.
San Francisco.
In the aftermath of October 7th, and we saved over 700 Americans, mostly
Yeah,
Floridians, but not
nothing
all,
about
because Biden wouldn't do it. Finally,
the
Biden started dumping people in
21,000 dead
Greece, and then they were
civilians
sending a
in
bill
Gaza
to the
right now.
Americans just to get to Greece. If you come to
10,000
this
of
country
which are children.
illegally, they will pay to fly you all over the place. They'll put you up in a hotel at no expense. But yet our own citizens fleeing a war zone, they're going to send you a bill. Joe Biden failed those people, and we stepped up and got it.
Let me
done.
ask you. I want to turn to the
anti-Semitism.
We don't have a lot of time
on your streets for years.
I want to turn to the issue, gentlemen, of China. I talk about this often. Intellectual
this up. I
property
need to
theft,
pee.
unfair trade practices. That China has been hostile to our fighter jets in international airspace, hostile to our Navy in international waterways. We know all about the China spy balloon that happened 8 days right across the United States over military
More fear-mongering, more
the communist
saber-rattling
Chinese, they
about
have nationals
China.
buying up thousands of acres of ranch land,
China
farmland,
doesn't want war.
and
They're
land near
smarter than
military
that.
installations.
And
Their
so are
hostility
we.
towards Taiwan. They are, Governor DeSantis, our number one geopolitical foe. I don't see that the Biden administration has been tough with them. What would you do differently?
Well, first, in Florida, we banned China from buying land in our state because you're right. You don't want them buying farmland or land near military bases. So we acted. We also got the Confucius Institutes out of our universities. China should not be involved in our universities at all. What you need to do is you need to have hard power in the Indo-Pacific to deter China's ambitions. You need to take the economy, and we need to decouple from China. We're dependent on them for so many things. And then finally, we need to get serious about their influence in this country. They shouldn't be able to buy farmland anywhere. I can tell you this, I would not go to China and grovel in front of Xi like Gavin Newsom did. He says China's a partner on climate change. China's adding 2 new coal plants every year. China's laughing at us with what they're doing. So yes, they're the number one threat we face, and we need to take it seriously, and Joe Biden is not doing that.
This is just a reminder. I think it's a question some people are probably asking. I know Nikki Haley's campaign is asking, when are you going to drop out and at least give Nikki Haley a shot to take down Donald Trump in this nomination? She laid you out.
please.
You're a walking hypocrite.
You wish. You
You're a walking
You wish.
hypocrite
What about
on
China?
the issue of China. This is the guy that was looking for direct foreign trade from China, was doing trade
That
shows,
is
open
false.
up an awesome.
That's already been
That's
debunked. And you talk
absolutely
about the
true.
liberal fact
You are
checkers.
aggressive.
Even the liberal fact checkers
Donald
did
Trump
that.
himself today called
Please.
you Red Ron for a
Please.
reason, because of your complete hypocrisy.
All right, we're almost out of
Again,
time.
talking a big game. I confronted Xi on the issue of fentanyl, Ron. I confronted them
Not on human rights, you didn't.
I absolutely did, with the foreign minister and the vice president and other leaders in China. You talk a big game. Meanwhile,
We're
you haven't done
over
anything
time.
except tweet things
Final
out.
question. Governor DeSantis, we owe you about 90 seconds, but you get the last word as per the coin flip.
What are you giving me? 5 seconds? What do I get?
No, I'll do okay. I'll be a little more generous than that. Look,
God damn it, dude.
it's been a very passionate debate tonight. Actually, it's been fun to be a part of. I think the American people will decide. Governing philosophies could not be more different. But let me ask you this. Kind of a fun question. You both clearly love your states.
Yeah, this is so
you
fucking
visited
fun,
each other's
Sean.
state. Governor DeSantis, you can take as much time as you want. You have an extra 90 seconds. What is your favorite thing about the state of California? And
I'd give him 5 minutes for this.
go right
That's
ahead.
a good question.
5 minutes, Governor.
When I got orders as a Navy lieutenant to go to Naval Amphibious Base Coronado, I had not spent any real time in California in my life. Florida native, and I'm very proud of the state. But I got down there, and that Strand is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And then all up and down, just a tremendous coastline. I do believe California has more natural advantages than any state in the country, which is why when you have so many people leaving on net, that's hard to do. Like, people don't want to leave there because it really is such a beautiful area.
Here.
And I'm proud of the military installations that are there. I'm proud of what the Navy's been able to do in conjunction with the state. It was really important duty. It really helped forge me as an individual and as an American. And so I'll always have very, very fond memories of that nice strand down there in Southern California.
I love that. I mean,
What do you
Reagan,
love? No, what do you love? I don't know what you love
Reagan
about
used to call
California.
California.
Hey, I'm running a poll. Who won, DeSantis
Shut up.
or Newsom? Give me a vote in the poll.
Meaning, you know what? We all want to be loved. We need to be loved. We all want to be protected, respected, and connected. I think there is a unity frame here.
Okay.
You said it well. I mean, Ron, I have no doubt Ron DeSantis loves this country. I love this country. It's not about red versus blue. It's red, white, and
A lot of votes flying in right now. We're almost at 300 votes here.
and so I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate you, Ron, being a family man. You got 3 incredible kids. I appreciate your wife, your sacrifice, and I appreciate your military
Isn't he
service.
supposed to be talking
But I
about
also appreciate
Florida?
we do have fundamental differences about the fate and future of this country, and that's why I'm going to be working so hard to get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris reelected in 2024.
You couldn't resist. You had to go right back to 2024. All right, here's the last
kinda
one.
have to.
Would you do this again?
Well, you know what?
I hope we could do
you know who
another
should be
half
debating?
hour. I got all night.
Joe Biden
Let's keep
should show
doing
up
it.
to a debate.
That's why I
Donald
want to
Trump
have
should show up to a
I have
debate.
another 20 minutes, and
Yeah,
I've got a
yeah,
lot of
Joe Biden
questions.
I'm happy
show
to,
up.
You want to stay?
Let's just do an extended hour. I'm happy to do it.
Okay, then
This has been fun.
I think it's been fun, and I think it's been more entertaining. I'm sorry to the guests that I've been invited. I got to take a break, though, in the meantime. We've got to pay some bills. It's not a cheap set we built for y'all. I hope you like it. Courtesy of your favorite
is
channel,
this still-
Fox News, and you do admit you watch off it. We'll take a break.
Oh,
They've
God,
agreed
dude.
to stay. Well, that's, I guess, the debate on the fly will continue on the other side.
still going?
And later have.
Oh, come on, man. I thought it was over, man. I thought I was done.
Yeah, I want to be done with this. Do I have to cover it more? All right. Okay, I'm gonna pee. Then we'll cover more of it when I get back from peeing. my darling.
See you guys next Thursday. I hope that you guys have a great weekend.
Oh wait, you got one more. You got one more.
Okay. Michelle Reno said event, and he's hella fine. He's a handsome man. But,
Oh wait, another one just came in for you.
Stop playing. Get Jeff Wiggins for 6th.
If you want to participate in the poll, which I highly recommend you do, please make sure to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything to do so, but it's a great way to partake in you know.
Let's see what other voicemails came in during the debate.
Hey, I'm from Arizona, and I kind of have an interesting perspective. I'm very progressive, but Sean Hannity and Newsom are kind of friends, or have become so a little bit, and I don't know if that was kind of a bait and switch, and maybe that's the reason why Hannity's suddenly so tilted.
Yeah.
But as a strong progressive, I mean, it's tough that Newsom isn't doing better.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm impressed with Newsom's performance. Lisa says, don't worry, David. The last 20 minutes of this disaster may just get you to 2 million subscribers. Hannity did it for you. Imagine if we actually get to the 2 million subscribers before the debate finally ends, and it does end up being thanks to Hannity, I guess, extending the debate on the fly. Who the hell?
Afterwards, they couldn't stay longer, but we appreciate them all being here tonight. Okay.
Look at that. They remembered at 10:45 p.m. they have somewhere else that they have to go to pick up someone at school or something. They just remembered, I have something to do at 10:45
Oh God!
PM. Wow.
So they left.
Wow. So they bailed. Okay. They have bailed, and the debate is over.
All right.
So
good.
this is where we stand, ladies and gentlemen. That will be the end of the stream because the candidates just remembered they had to go somewhere else.
Really?
We didn't quite get to 2 million, but
well, you're a shill for Israel anyway. Oh God. Yeah, no, I mean, at least that was a lot more entertaining and lively of a debate than the Republican primaries, like, for sure, like, without a doubt. But, God, liberals, man, they just, like, it's always going to be a very mixed record when it comes to blue-collar, blue dog Democrats is the term I'm looking for. When it comes to, like, just milquetoast liberals who toe the line of the status quo and aren't bold and fundamental when it comes to, like, big actual structural change. So, yeah, no, of course, you know, Newsom wasn't the best he could be, you know. Still, I mean, he'd be a decent fucking president. Like, polls indicate that generic Democrat polls greater against Trump than Biden does. So, I don't know. I like the guy from Illinois a bit better than my governor. I I forget his name. I think it's the governor of Illinois. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds. I suppose. It was a very evenly matched debate. You know, they were both fiery and tons of rhetoric spewed. Of course, Gavin came with facts, and of course, Desantis effectively swatted them away for the most part. But he did end up repeating himself so many fucking times, just because that's all it takes when it comes to controlling the Republican base. You repeat something enough times, it becomes true. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. The 3 or 4 of you that popped in and whatnot. I'll see you guys very soon. I just put out a short yesterday about Henry Kissinger. Make sure to check that out if you haven't. You guys have an excellent night.